Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to race number 29 of Season 4 of the NCRA Duracell Cup Series. The last race of the Big Four, if you will, and more importantly, elimination race number 1 of the playoffs. At the conclusion of today's event, 12 drivers, they'll be moving on to the next round of the chase for the championship. 4 drivers' journey will come to a rather rapid end, having only run Richmond, Charlotte Roval, and here today at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And let me tell you what, folks, we're going to be going over it, but the the gaggle of drivers around that cut line, they are almost too numerous to name, and we're going to be trying to fill you in on all the details here before going green. One of the playoff contenders here today is going to start on the pole position. That's going to be Charles Belding, our winner back from the road course of Pucaca. Now, he's not safe, but he does come into this race 7th in the overall standings so far. However, he is only 11 points, correction, 10 points ahead of that coveted 12th position in the standings. So if Belding runs into a problem here today, despite his good starting track position, he could very well be eliminated from his first playoff appearance. There are drivers in the field, however, that still want to finish out the season with a victory. As a matter of fact, non-playoff contenders make up the remainder of the top 8, including the defending winner of this race from a year ago, Michael Norman, rolling off from the 8th position. So we'll see. So far in this round, we have had one playoff contender go to victory lane. That was Dylan Young back at Richmond. And we've had one non-playoff driver go to victory lane. That was, of course, Jacob Thibodeaux last week at the Charlotte Roval. If you didn't tune into non-charter qualifying earlier on today, we are at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Obviously, it's one of the big four with the Brickyard 400. Drivers want to be able to win the Daytona 500, the Throne of Games 500, which we have at Darlington, the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte, and of course the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. It is the last one of those big four that we're running here today, but it is a different version of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Indy is basically known pretty much across the entire world for its high speeds but very low banking in the corners. Here today, however, a little bit of an added feature as this is going to be a banked version of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and if what we saw in the non-charter qualifying session is anything to go by, it should be a good one. It certainly should be a wild card type race, perfect venue to be able to determine the 12 drivers that move on. And it's a curveball for these guys as well, because while we do have 3 drivers that have gone to victory lane at Indianapolis previously in the last 3 seasons, none of them have ever won at the Indianapolis of this type of configuration. So one driver here today will be able to say that they won at the banked Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, you can check down the description below for your full official starting lineup for today's event. We're going to go down trackside for those most famous words in motorsports, then talk about the playoffs.
Drivers, start your engines!
So 12 drivers are moving on. One of them we already know is Dylan Young. He locked himself into the round of 12 with his win a couple of weeks ago at Richmond. Drivers right now that look like they could be safe to make it in on points is Carter Friesen, a little bit slow coming off of pit lane. We'll follow up on that in just a moment, see if he's going to still be up to speed. But Adam Garcia, T Wright, and the defending champion Jordan Lopez, they all look like they're in good shape to make it into the round of 12. 16-point separation between those 4 for the points lead. That includes Dylan Young. Then we get down to that cutoff line area. Zach Rogers right now is the driver 12th in points. Ryan Butcher is +1. Cole Deaver +5. Nathan Ormond +5. Carson Gum +9. Belding, who we just talked about, the pole sitter, +10. +11 for Jesse Turner, and +17 for Keith Batson. Those drivers could easily fall outside of the cut line before the conclusion of this race. The drivers that are trying to make their way in, try to get ahead of Zach Rogers. Chris Dollerton, he is -2. Jose Millz is -4. Mitchell Collins is -5. And Ryan Brommer is only -6. So it is still pretty much anybody's game. Actually, correction, -8 on Ryan Brommer, but it is still very, very close. Looks like whatever the problem was for Carter Friesen, they have fixed it. He's gotten back up and taken his position. 40 laps of racing here today at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll see if this thing goes into a green flag run, and we will see pit stops come into play. We did have a caution back in the non-charter qualifying session, which actually happened up at the very front of the field. Involved the inaugural winner here at Indianapolis back in Season 1, Dylan Poteet, who did not advance here into today's main event. Looks like Friesen's coming to pit road. So unfortunate start here for the driver of the 37. As he's going to be heading down pit lane behind the pace car. We're going to get ready to turn them loose. The Brickyard 400 for Season 4 is green. Let's roll. You saw Friesen heading on to pit lane. Hopefully, whatever the issue is, they can get him back out there and keep him on the lead lap. That is possible, especially since these drivers were just getting up to speed at the drop of the green flag. As Johnny Gardner going to look to the inside of William Brock for the second position. You heard them when they went into turn 1, bailing out of the throttle quite a bit. You're going to be hearing that a lot more as this run goes on. I've had experience at this track, and it is murder on that right front tire. You almost, only 5-6 laps in, feel like you can't even turn that race car. The front end does not want to turn, just wants to go straight. So these drivers, especially with double wide racing, are going to have to be careful, as that's another thing we have to keep an eye on as well. You're going to want to back up your corner to make sure that the car turns, but the driver behind you may not be ready for your lift point. You saw there, William Brock got into the back of Charles Belding, who then almost in turn got sent down across the nose of Johnny Gardner. And that's almost mirror image of what we had have happen in the non-charter qualifying race earlier on today that involved Dylan Poteet. Mentioned the fact that Michael Norman, the defending winner of this race, so that leaves one driver we haven't mentioned. That's a former winner here at Indianapolis. That would be Austin LaPlante, who took the checkers here back in Season 2. He's in the field in the 48, but did not have the best of qualifying efforts, thusly starting back in the pack. There you saw him just up on the top right, the purple and black Ally Chevrolet, as we're looking 3 wide into turn 1. That's last week's winner, Jacob Thibodeaux, picking up career win number 3 last week. But first of the season, he's in the middle 3 wide with Ryan Brommer, 16th of the 16 playoff contenders coming into this race on his inside. And pole sitter Charles Belding to his top side. Ryan Butcher just moved around for the 4th spot. He's the second highest running playoff driver behind Cole Deaver, who's already taken a checkered flag at Indianapolis this season. That was, of course, back when we ran the Indy Grand Prix, the road course configuration here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And that was his 2nd win of his career. Deaver going to look now to the inside of Johnny Gardner for the race lead. Drives it in deep. Johnny Gardner missed his point right there. Almost went a little too high where there's no grip. Going to lose 1st and 2nd. Now under fire for 3rd. As the lithium blue banners of Deaver and Butcher will go to the point. Butcher only 1 point ahead of the cut line. Deaver only 5 points ahead of the cut line. So both of them looking to make sure that they pad their cushion, so to speak. Mitchell Collins looking to the inside there on Ryan Brommer. Kitty corner to him, his teammate, Dylan Young in the 2. The only driver that comes into this race pretty much worry-free, knowing he's moving on to the next round of the playoffs. A lot of moving around up here as I think Johnny Gardner saw William Brock coming with a lot of momentum. Look at Gardner, wow! Well, you talk about driving it in deep. That might be an understatement with what Johnny Gardner did right there. He passed 3 cars almost. He passed 2, 2.5 we'll call it. And he almost was on the apron there trying to get the inside of Cole Deaver. I'm not necessarily certain Cole Deaver was throwing the block in the 14. I think he was just running the line he wanted to run. Didn't expect the 14 was going to close up on him that quickly. Ormond trying to make that Gardner look into the inside again on Deaver. Not going to be able to make the pass. Brock's going to move around Ryan Butcher into 3rd place. And are we under caution? Wait till they come around here, see what the flag stand looks like. I thought I saw the yellow lights on. Yes, they are. Caution is out for the first time today, and looks like we may have had an issue up there in turn 1. This must have taken place towards the mid, maybe rear of the field, because we did not see anything happen up at the front. Carter Friesen, I believe, managed to stay on the lead lap. No, he did not. He did lose a lap, so this caution did not come out in time for him. Yeah, we got some contact there, a little extracurricular activity between Charles Sandfer and Arthur Xavier. Does appear to be some damage on the 0-3. So he could have very well at least been involved in what brought the yellow flag out. We'll see if he and the 24 might have gotten together over in turn 1, if this is a little bit of extra exchange between the two. Arthur Xavier making his 9th career start of the season, after making his way in through knockout qualifying. Pits should be open this time, and I don't know if drivers will come down pit road this early or not. We'll find out, though, when we come back from looking at a replay of our first caution of the day, officially on lap number 5. It's going to be the 47 of Jesse Turner, playoff contender. And he may have actually just saved his playoff hopes here, too. Watch this. Jack Mitchell gets into his left rear quarter panel going into turn 1, then gets him again, turns him the wrong direction, and then that last little bit of contact there to the left front, spins the 47 facing back the right direction, maybe a little bit of a scuff to the back bumper of that car, but that could have been a lot worse. Little half spin, little aid from the 0-1 to get him pointed back in the right direction. You can see the damage there on the back end. A little bit of damage around where the GT would be on the rear of that machine, but that car should still be up to speed, still should be okay. Jesse Turner dodging a bullet here, a driver that came into this race only 11 points ahead of that 12th in the standings cut line. That's the first caution of the day here at Indianapolis, and if that's all we see for the yellow flag here today, I'd be pretty happy. I'd love to see this thing go into a long green flag run. We've kind of been denied the opportunity to see long green flag runs play out the last 2 weeks. Let's hope, fingers crossed, we get to see one here. We did have some drivers come down pit road, take on some service, even drivers up inside of the top 5. We'll cover all that as we head back now for the restart. Lights just went out atop the pace cars. The field crossed the yard of bricks on the front straightaway, so we'll go green next time by. Cole Deaver, 2 wins on the year, trying to tie Adam Garcia for 3 after Garcia picked up that 3rd win in the regular season finale at Auto Club. He's your race leader over J Gardner. Ryan Butcher lines up in 3rd, Jacob Thibodeaux in 4th, Charles Belding in 5th. That's Ryan Brommer, Jessica Shelton, Mitchell Collins, Vince Almariego, and James Qualls. That's going to be your top 10. 3 playoff contenders inside of the top 5. 5 of them inside of the top 10. Mention the fact that some drivers elected to come down pit road. The highest of them was William Brock, who was 3rd when he crossed the start-finish line coming to the caution. He is going to be restarting back in the 40th position. And I believe a couple of others that might have come down pit road as well, although I can't confirm it. I believe Arthur Xavier and M Haas might have been down pit lane here under this caution. I don't know if maybe there might have been some contact that they wanted to check on that 88, despite the fact he gave up a top 5 restarting position here. We're going to get the restart with 31 laps to go on lap number 10. Carter Friesen to the inside of the race, the race leaders, since he was trapped a lap down, having to come to pit lane for an unscheduled stop prior to the green flag being thrown. So his hope is to be able to get ahead of Cole Deaver here on this start, get himself a quick yellow, and get back to the tail end of the field, start picking up positions. Now Cole Deaver going for the Indianapolis sweep. No driver's ever done that because we've never run the Indianapolis road course prior to this season. But Deaver could set a rather unique precedent here if he's able to win at the road course and the speedway. As the green flag flies once again, Friesen did not time that start as well as Cole Deaver did. He'll drop back behind the 08, just in front of the 14. So now lap car separates second on back from the top position. And these guys all here were running double wide at the initial start of the race. Gonna be interesting to see now the passing that we will see with this single file restart. Jacob Thibodeaux steps out. That's for third on Ryan Butcher. Ooh, almost a little contact between those two, and there was near contact exchanged up there between the lap car of Carter Friesen and the 14 of Johnny Gardner, and Gardner's not taking no for an answer. He wants around that 37 car, and Friesen's not really being a gracious lap car at the time being. Realizes that if he can get up there around Cole Deaver, he would get back in the lead lap, and Johnny Gardner says, hey, I'm looking for my first win on the season. Gardner hasn't won since Dover back in season 2, if I recall correctly. It's been a long winless streak for him. It's actually been a bit of a mediocre season for Joanna Atwood Motorsports overall, as they've only got 2 victories this year, both of them coming courtesy of playoff contender N Ormond. Qualls and Gardner and former champion Ryan Acosta, all with a 0 in the win column so far, as Jacob Thibodeaux got his first taste of victory lane this season. Was a 2-time winner last year in his rookie effort for Northeast Motorsports, and we'll see if maybe he's going to be able to do something that happened in back-to-back races last season at this point. Last year, we mentioned Michael Norm was the defending winner in Indianapolis. He had actually won the Charlotte Roval race the week before. Well, Thibodeaux won at the Charlotte Roval last week. Can he double down and win at Indianapolis? This guy has to be on go, I think, from the drop of the green flag, because Ryan Brommer, as mentioned, he's only 8 points behind the cut line. But especially in the round of 16, where, what, about a fifth, at least, a little bit more than a fifth, of the field is made up of playoff contenders. I mean, you've got playoff drivers all around you. And so for Ryan Brommer, he has to make absolutely certain that he keeps himself out there ahead of whoever he has to make sure he advances. Remember that Bulldog Motorsports has had its drivers, Zach Rogers and Ryan Brommer, in the Final Four. Wow! For back-to-back seasons, but my goodness me there. Literally rubbing doors into turn 1, and that could have easily been a yellow flag between Cole Deaver and Jacob Thibodeaux, and I guarantee you the one that had the most to lose out of that exchange would have been the 08. It was a gutsy block. Here comes Mitchell Collins in the 22. He's bringing another playoff contender in T Wright behind him. Mitchell Collins 15th in points. 5 points behind the cut line. It's exactly the run he needs, and T Wright came into this race not locked in, but looking good on points, as he was a total of 35 points ahead of the cut line, the 2-time winner. And boy, I'm telling you what, these drivers, their hearts must be in their throats every time they go into turn 1. That has really been the area where everyone stacks up. Thibodeaux tried to get a run there through 1 and 2, couldn't do it. Now, one driver I want to jump back and just highlight here real quick, because we haven't talked about him on track, but we have talked about him in regards to the playoff points, and that's Zach Rogers. He is the cutoff line driver. He's the driver that's got the most pressure right now, because he could easily move up or down, above or below that cut line. And right now, the 6 is running in the 27th position. We talked about the fact that Rogers has been in the Final Four for the championship the past 2 years. And right now, according to what I am seeing, just based on the drivers on track, drivers like Chris Dollerton, Jose Millz, Mitchell Collins, and Ryan Brommer, the 4 that were behind him, are all currently running ahead of him on the racetrack at this point in time. Right now, Rogers under fire from the driver that took the non-charter win earlier on today, Daniel Voyles in the 63, who's now alongside of Cole Baker in the 11. The highest non-charter driver right now is Will Goss, and no surprise there. I mean, that car was really strong in the non-charter qualifying session. Picked his way up into the top 5, finished out that race in, I believe it was the 3rd position. So subsequently started from 39th here today and has picked up 11 spots since the race started, up to 28th, now making his way around the former champion Chris Dollerton. Another driver that could be in trouble. I noticed that not only Zach Rogers back here towards the rear of the field, but we talked about Jordan Lopez, the defending champion. Right now, he is scored in 33rd. His situation points-wise was 33 points ahead of the cut line coming into this race. So points-wise, he might be okay. We're going to have to wait and see. But Jesse Turner, who was involved in our only caution of the day up to this point, he's not made up any ground. Oh, I thought I heard squealing wheels. Hold on, I want to check through the field here just to make sure. Okay, that's just a case of that right front just screaming on these guys, but I thought I heard a spin. But Turner right now back in 39th has not made up any progress, and this is not good for him because he was only 11 points to the good. William Brock's back here too. Remember, he made that pit stop. I think he was one of the only drivers to come to pit road as Thibodeaux is going to go to the point. And Brock has not made up any positions. I believe he took on tires on his pit stop. You would have thought fresh tires would be worth everything, but apparently that's not the case right now. James Qualls. Good run for the 54. Trying to get the inside of Mitchell Collins. Nothing doing. Crossed 7th at the start-finish line last time by. These two have been fun to watch. Cole Deaver and Jacob Thibodeaux. I don't think there's a rivalry going on between these two, but they... It's a good thing that both of them have red on their paint schemes, because I think they've exchanged a little bit of red paint here and there. Thibodeaux had a little bit of silver. It's only because it came from the door of the 08. So right now, drivers that are looking really good. Wow! Did you see that? T Wright just literally pushed R Brommer into the corner there. Luckily, the bumpers were square, but Deaver's looking good. Brommer, T Wright, Mitchell Collins, Ryan Butcher. Those drivers all looking good right now. J Millz. He's looking pretty good right there. Of course, J Millz winning the next to last big track that we were at. Auto Club was the latest track we were at where Garcia went to victory lane, but 2 weeks before that we were at Pocono where J Millz won, and R Brommer's going to get spun off the nose of James Qualls. And now he's going to get punted from behind by Carter Friesen. Caution's going to fly. And the 99 now is involved of Levi McIntire, Joshua Osborne, Jordan Lopez, Joshua Osborne, Cole Baker, and Jesse Turner. And I'm assuming this is from the 9 sliding down the very high banking over there in 3 and 4. Points leader Adam Garcia. Well, actually, not points leader, but 3-time winner Adam Garcia. Heavily involved. Wow, that was an unusual portion of the track for that to take place. It was over in the entrance to turn 3 and a car getting hit in the right rear quarter panel. But that could be playoff hopes potentially done for Jesse Turner. I don't know. He's going to have to hope that other playoff contenders run into trouble. There is McIntyre. There is R Brommer. His playoff hopes are done. Brommer was last of the 16 drivers. And he looks like he will not get back out there. So that is a tough break for R Brommer. Driver that finished 2nd in the playoff standings back in Season 2. Just lost it out in the Ryan and Ryan show between himself and Acosta. Was in the Final Four last season as well. Pit road is open as we approach the halfway point here at Indianapolis. I would be shocked if anybody stays out here. And here they all come. Everybody's going to be on pit lane here. No, they're not. Only a couple of drivers are coming down, which makes things very interesting. I mean, I don't see how these guys can all make it on fuel. But maybe these guys are banking on another yellow. We don't know what the fuel window is. Maybe they think that caution will come out before they have to pit. Cole Deaver and Jacob Thibodeaux, though, they just can't seem to get away from each other, whether it's on track or on pit road. They're going to lead a couple of drivers down pit lane here as we go back and see who brought out the caution for the 2nd time here today at Indianapolis. Now, at first glance, when we went back and looked at it, I thought Qualls just hooked him in the right rear quarter panel, but this is going into turn 3. Watch how the 9 gets his left sides down here on that rumble strip. Right there. You can see the back end of the car want to step out on him. So he's already loose for a time there, and then he thinks that he's going to have a clear entry all the way up to the outside wall. Look at the run that James Qualls got. And Qualls wasn't going to lift, and I don't blame him. If you got to run like that at a track that's as momentum-oriented as Indianapolis, you've got to take it. And Ryan Brommer, I don't know if that's on him or if that's on the spotter. There you see the contact with Friesen in the back of Qualls. But right here comes the shot that's going to end Ryan Brommer's playoff hopes of moving on to the next round. Roof flaps in ploy, but that car drifts down this very high banking. Nowhere for Levi McIntyre to go. There's where Joshua Osborne's collected. There's Baker's shot. And there's Jesse Turner and Jack Mitchell. Oh, Turner, completely out of control. Noses it into the Dollar General Toyota of Cole Baker. Then slides and makes further contact with Levi McIntyre. There's the 56 of Osborne. I don't know if he had any other previous contact outside of the hit to Levi. Watch the 63 of Daniel Voyles. Did our non-charter winner get in it? Oh, yeah. And a little bit of right side damage for Jordan Lopez as well. There's A LaPlante, former Indy winner. Swing around the outside. I don't think he even lifted. So about 5 cars left over in turn 4 torn up. Maybe around 10 drivers collected up in total, and 2 drivers, one officially not going to be moving on, the other one a big question mark in Jesse Turner, as those two got big time damage, and I do not think we'll be able to continue here at Indianapolis. Let's sort it all out. Let's go back for the restart here at the Brickyard. Well, we've got some cat and mouse games going on here, some strategy calls under the pacing laps here at Indianapolis. We saw Cole Deaver and Jacob Thibodeaux, that they came down pit road. They're going to be starting back in 25th and 26th, respectively. Benny Watson, Cody Llamas, Jordan Lopez, William Brock, as well as Adam Garcia and Chris Dollerton. They were all down that lap when the pits were open. The following lap, we saw Ryan Acosta, defending winner Michael Norman, Austin LaPlante, and Dylan Schwellenberg hit pit lane. So they should be a little bit better on fuel than everybody else. Carter Friesen will still line up to the inside 1 lap down, and drivers that will not make it to the conclusion of this race, Ryan Brommer, Levi McIntyre, Cole Baker, Jesse Turner, and Jack Mitchell. So that is playoff hopes done for Ryan Brommer. He will not advance. Jesse Turner right now kind of hanging on a string, and we had 24 drivers who elected not to come down pit lane under this caution. And to my knowledge, those 24 drivers have not been to pit road since the drop of the green flag. So just how much further can they go before they're going to have to hit pit lane? We're past the halfway point, 18 laps to go, when T Wright, the 2-time winner, will bring us down to the green flag. I mentioned the fact that the Brickyard 400, one of the big 4 that everybody wants to win, well, the 3 previous races of the big 4 have been won by playoff contenders. Cole Deaver won the Darlington race. Mitchell Collins won the Coke 600 at Charlotte, and the driver you're looking at out in front right now, T Wright, he was the Daytona 500 winner. Car's slow there. J Millz. Is he coming to pit road? Some of these guys might be pitting. I think they are. Look out. They got to be careful that they don't get run over. All these guys going to elect to pit under green, and are they all going to make it on? Wow, that's a gaggle of cars coming down pit road. Look at them all back here, 2 and 3 wider. Some of them going to be able to make it onto pit road entry. Daniel Voyles kind of boxed out. Oh, he just barely squeezed in beside Tyler Gerdes, and all these guys electing to pit under green. Oh, Joshua Osborne out of fuel over in turn 4. I think he's going to get down there and be able to get back to pit road. So we shouldn't see the caution. Ooh, this is going to be close. Oh, man. Keep it low there, Josh. Friesen's coming around out of turn 3. If that 56 can't make it to pit road and stops on the track, that's going to bring out a caution. He's at 25 miles per hour right now. This may bring out a yellow. I think that with these leaders coming up on him, this might bring out a caution flag here. Is he low enough that the yellow won't fly? He might be. I don't know. We're still green, so apparently he was low enough. And now we've got drivers that just pitted coming out on the racetrack. They're going to be intermingled with the drivers that were on pit lane under the yellow flag here. Why did these drivers not come to pit road under the caution? I'm not sure. But if they were able to make it, 24 laps, I think all these guys that came to pit road, they can make it the rest of the way. So that was a bad strategy call on about half the field right there. As J Thibodeaux going to be the race leader. J Deaver is second. J Llamas is now up to third. Benny Watson in fourth. And right now, William Brock would be in the fifth position. The 22 you're looking at there, Mitchell Collins, he is now trapped a lap down. I'll tell you what, tell you who's loving what just happened right there, and that's Jesse Turner, because that means that quite a number of playoff contenders are going to be trapped a lap down. As Carter Friesen and J Deaver nearly had an exchange there. There's Ryan Butcher. He was scored 15th last time by. Last car on the lead lap. 15 drivers on the lead lap right now. Only 3 drivers managed to get out ahead of the race leader now, J Thibodeaux. T Wright, who was leading when he came down pit road. J Millz and Ryan Butcher. So who did this strategy call play out in favor of? Well, you're looking at a couple of them right there. Adam Garcia and Jordan Lopez, who if they already weren't locked in on points, they are in very good shape right now in 7th and 8th, and I believe the yellow flag is out. And I think we may know why. So Matthew Rodriguez sitting on pit road there with no right front quarter panel, and Ryan Butcher just got lapped. Just got lapped. And he lost a position to Carter Friesen. Friesen just moved up to 15th, getting around him. So big break for T Wright and J Millz, but those are the only 2 drivers in which that green flag pit stop worked out in any way. '56, not sure where Osborne is going, as he's just flying around. And Benny Watson in the 75. Who was up in the top 5. It might have been him that was involved in starting this wreck, and Matthew Rodriguez might have been an innocent bystander in it. Might have been the 2 of them that got together. I don't know, but we're probably going to get the green flag either on or just past 10 laps to go. J Thibodeaux looking for back-to-back wins here this season. We'll see if he can pull it off. Let's go back and take a look at the replay. Third caution of the day flies at Indianapolis. Battle for the 4th position at the time, and this is a lap car, the 22 of Mitchell Collins, that makes the contact with Benny Watson, and that's just 2 drivers wanting the same piece of real estate. Collins drives it in deep, Watson lifts and cuts down across the nose of the 22, but Benny Watson not going to be too thrilled about that, I don't think, as he could have very easily won this race. The pit strategy had worked out very much in his favor, and then here comes Matthew Rodriguez, absolutely nowhere to go. Shelton and Goss just barely get through. Wow! Did you see Chris Dollerton there and Zach Rogers? That could have been their playoff hopes done if they'd made contact with the 75. That was even closer there for Dollerton. Pole sitter Charles Belding you saw there just barely getting through in the 91. So 2-car incident brings out the caution here. There is Rodriguez's machine. Both those drivers obviously will not make it to the conclusion of this race. Now we got to find out how many laps to go, because I think all these drivers are good on fuel, but this caution is going to give us an idea of who had the strategy that worked out and who did not, based off our running order. Green flag is back in the air. I missed the start. I thought that the lights were actually still on the pace car, and then they took me by surprise and went green. So it'll be 9 laps to go here as Thibodeaux hits the line. He's your race leader. J Deaver in second. He's got lap machines between himself and the 33, who nearly got dumped by one of those said lap cars, Carter Friesen. Now the caution is out. And it's Patrick Smith in the 77 over in turn 1. Looks like maybe a solo car deal. Friesen's got a chance here to get back in the lead lap, as does Ryan Butcher, if they can beat the 33 back to the start-finish line. Let's see what the sense of urgency is here for the 37. It's not there just yet. Thibodeaux dealing with a little bit of rear-end damage, I noticed there, as well as Friesen, Butcher, neither one close enough. There were 13 drivers on the lead lap when we went back green, by the way, and now we're going to be probably getting a restart with around 5 laps to go. As J Llamas with a drag race with J Deaver to the start-finish line for second. Deaver will get the spot, though, and Thibodeaux is going to lead us back under yet another yellow flag. We already saw that Patrick Smith was the one out of shape over there in turn 1. I'm assuming he was the only one involved in this caution. There you see really there on your top 10, those are 10 of 13 drivers that right now these cautions and the pit strategies worked out in their favor. With Deaver, Llamas, Norman, and Brock right now holding down the top 5 spots. Then Lopes, former winner Dylan Schwallenberg up in 7th. Adam Garcia, Ryan Acosta, Austin LaPlante, former winner there in the 48 and 10th. Chris Dollerton, J Millz, and T Wright, they're the only drivers on the lead lap right now. 14th on down, Friesen, Butcher on down. They are at least 1 lap short of the race leader. Well, caution's out for the 4th time. Let's quickly go back, look at a replay, and then we'll review everything as far as the playoffs when we come back. Hopefully this time I won't miss the restart green. You want to see a classic case of what happens when that right front doesn't take and the brakes don't work? Patrick Smith running straight into the left rear corner panel of Charles Belding. That's a pretty hard shot for Belding to the outside wall. Started this race from the pole position. You'd think that'd be a safe place out in front, but circumstances and pit strategy have put the 91 in the back and currently off the lead lap. It's kind of ironic that the car that does the hitting is the one that goes around. Patrick Smith, former winner this season back at Chicago, or make that New Hampshire, brings out the caution for the 4th time here today. And it's going to set us up for a restart with less than 10 to go, maybe 5 to go. We're now going to jump back to live. We're going to take the opportunity under pacing to kind of set up where our playoff drivers are right now, who's still got a shot, and right now kind of get a projected picture in our mind of who those 12 are going to be moving on to the next round of the chase for the championship. When the pits were open, nobody came down pit road, so as I assumed, everybody should be good to make it the rest of the way on what they've got in the tank. Also, with this restart being less than 10 to go, drivers like Carter Friesen and Ryan Butcher, they will line up single file between the 33, the 08, the 84, making things a little bit more difficult for second on back. Jacob Thibodeaux is going to have a couple of moving chicanes, if you will, to maybe try and keep Cole Deaver at bay, but at the same time, Carter Friesen and Ryan Butcher, I guarantee you want to finish this race on the lead lap. Ryan Butcher, maybe more so, because he is a playoff contender. All right, let's talk playoffs. So right now, with the drivers that are out of the race, Benny Watson and Matthew Rodriguez, they now join the 9, 99, 11, 47, and 01 in the garage area. Ryan Brommer, as we already know, is out. He will not be advancing. Jesse Turner, his fate kind of rests on where the rest of the playoff drivers are going to finish out this race. 41st here in the results, only was 11 points to the good over Zach Rogers. Right now, for Turner to at least have a ghost of a shot, Zach Rogers has to be running in 32nd or worse, and right now Rogers is actually running in 21st, so it's not looking good for the 47. We've only got a handful of our playoff drivers that are still on the lead lap, and these drivers almost seem to me like if they can finish on the lead lap, they are guaranteed to move on to the next round of the playoffs. Highest running of them right now is Cole Deaver in 2nd place. Jordan Lopes is in 6th. He, right now, mathematically would move on even if he didn't win this race. He would make it in on points. Adam Garcia, same deal for him. He's right now in 8th. Chris Dollerton, who was 2 points behind Zach Rogers, he's up there in 11th, so the driver that started out the season non-charter, the former champion from Season 1, looks like he could be moving on, as well as the 2 Blue Oval Automotive teammates of J Millz and T Wright. So right now it's looking like the 3 Blue Oval Automotive cars would be moving on to the next round of the playoffs, as things stand right now. So the question is, if Dollerton and Millz are in, and those were 2 drivers that came in behind the cut line, then who is in danger of falling out? Right now, I think those drivers would more than likely be Carson Gum in the 19. He currently is sitting in 29th, and Nathan Ormond in the 45. He's currently sitting in 32nd. Those 2 drivers, respectively, came into this race. Ormond, only 5 points to the good. Carson Gum, only 9 points to the good. And they are both running behind Zach Rogers. Mitchell Collins, I'd be worried about as well, as he was 5 points behind Zach Rogers, and right now he is scored 23rd, 1 lap down. This restart's going to be important. It's not only going to be for the race win, but it's going to be those drivers that are all trapped a lap down trying to keep within vicinity of each other. K Batson, he was 17 points to the good. Right now he is 17th, 1 lap down. I think he might be okay. Ryan Butcher looks like he might be alright if he can keep himself up in the top 15. We know Dylan Young is already locked in. So right now, the drivers that I'm worried about, dependent on where they finish in relation to Jesse Turner, Carson Gum and N Ormond, they could be on a bit of a slippery patch. Drivers like Chris Dollerton and J Millz look like they could easily move their way up into the top 12. Zach Rogers kind of having to decide his own fate here, as it's all really going to depend on his finishing position, whether he's going to be the cut line, be above the cut line, or be below the cut line. And then, of course, there's always that question of the 47 of Jesse Turner. Well, lights are on top of the pace car. 4-lap shootout to decide it here at Indianapolis. Jacob Thibodeaux trying to have something happen for the second time in back-to-back seasons. A driver winning at the Charlotte Roval and then following it up with a win the following week at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Norman did it back in Season 3. Thibodeaux trying to do it here in Season 4. Thibodeaux also trying to have his second straight multi-win season. He was a 2-time winner as a rookie last year. And he's also trying to become the first driver to capture a checkered flag here at the banked version of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. His teammate Austin LaPlante took a checkered flag here 2 seasons ago. LaPlante's actually up here inside of the top 10. Actually a really great effort out of 2 teams, well 3 teams really, in particular here today. Northeast Motorsports right now with Thibodeaux, William Brock, and Austin LaPlante all up inside of the top 10. Michael Norman Motorsports represented by Cody Llamas and Michael Norman in 3rd and 4th, and Blue Oval Automotive, as we already mentioned right now. All 3 of their playoff contenders up on the lead lap inside of the top 13. Lopez, the only one of them right now, in the 6th position. And give a shout out to Dylan Schwallenberg in that 46. Non-playoff driver, former winner this season back in one of the Chili Bowl heats, and of course trying to win Rookie of the Year honors here as well. He was the only one of the top 5 in the rookie points that made it into today's race, and right now, en route for another solid top 10. Schwallenberg has had 3 top 10s in the 10 starts he's made so far this season. Well, will we get to see this race finish under green? That is the question. If our past history from the past 2 weeks says anything, no, we are not. We may end up having 3 straight races where the race ends under the yellow flag. Well, hopefully not. Keep your fingers crossed, folks. As Thibodeaux going to lead 2 lap machines into turn 1. The driver you're watching for right now is that 08 of Cole Deaver. 4th in this line, scored in the 2nd position. Ryan Butcher, this is for position on Carter Friesen. This would be for 14th. First car 1 lap down. And the driver does not want to see that as Cole Deaver, because that just kind of creates a wall in front of him. He's not sure where to go. He'll jump up to the top side. Now Cody Llamas going to challenge Deaver for 2nd. How deep do they drive it into the corner? Ooh, that was Jordan Lopez back there, the defending champion, with rookie Dylan Schwallenberg almost inside his rear panel. That would have been a battle at the time for the 5th position, I do believe. As Llamas with some Fords down there, trying to make something happen on the inside line. Dylan Young was down there. Llamas' teammate Norman as well. Ooh. Cody a little indecisive. Thought about tucking in behind Cole Deaver, then ducked back down. Made some contact to himself in the 08 in the process. And now Deaver puts Cody back in his rearview mirror, goes back to work on trying to get around these lap machines of Friesen and Butcher. Fuel should not be a concern for these guys, as it's 2 laps to go here at Indianapolis. Oh, Dylan Young drives it up the middle there with Cole Deaver. Michael Norman on the bottom of that 3-wide formation. Deaver's going to clear. Dylan Young might have actually lifted there. Lap machine realizing he got into a lead lap car. Right now, J Llamas trying to be the second place driver as he's side by side with Deaver. Still the 2-lap machines of Butcher and Friesen, who are up to speed between them and Jacob Thibodeaux. And if something's going to happen, it's going to have to happen fast, here and now, because Thibodeau's about to come around and receive the white flag. Ryan Butcher back to the inside of Carter Friesen. J Llamas looks to clear for second place here off of turn 4. Looks like he will succeed in doing so. Now can he do something here with Ryan Butcher? Then get up there to Jacob Thibodeaux on this final lap as the white flag is out. 1 lap remaining here at Indy. Big run there for Ryan Butcher. He's going to move Jacob Thibodeaux out of the way, and J Llamas is there to capitalize. Butcher's going to get himself on the lead lap. Norman trying to help his teammate on the bottom against Jacob Thibodeaux in the 33. Which line works here? Thibodeaux gets the toe off of Ryan Butcher. Thibodeaux is going to try and go back to the inside of the 78. Michael Norman to the inside of J Llamas for second place. How Thibodeaux got back to the point, I'm not certain. Uh-oh, little slow there. Cody's got a big head of steam. Where does he take it? Norman's now going to take it to the inside on him. Oh boy, Jacob Thibodeaux isn't going to be able to hang on. The caution's out, doesn't matter. Jacob Thibodeaux is going to pick up his second win of the season. Back-to-back wins for the 33 as he wins the Brickyard 400. And thank the Lord above, we got a race to finish under the green flag for the first time in 3 weeks. But now the dust is settled, who's moving on? That's the big question. Who is moving on to the next round of the playoffs? As Jacob Thibodeaux beats out Michael Norman for the win. Norman, who 1 season ago had back-to-back wins at the Charlotte Roval in Indianapolis, and Thibodeaux does it second straight season, but a different driver. 4 career wins for Jacob Thibodeaux in only his second full-time season. Quite a prodigy that Northeast Motorsports brought onto their team last year as a rookie. And I keep seeing those caution lights on there, and that makes me wonder, was it any playoff contenders that were involved in this final caution of the day? That caution right there could be a huge difference maker. Well, so far we're only 1 for 3 here in the first round of a playoff driver winning a race. So 11 drivers will point their way into the next round. And a few of them that we definitely know who they will be. J Deaver finishing 4th. That's good enough. He's advancing. Jordan Lopez 7th. He's advancing. Adam Garcia 10th. He is advancing. So all 3 of those drivers we know will join Dylan Young. Dollerton, T Wright, J Millz, and Ryan Butcher did finish on the lead lap. Just barely edged out Jacob Thibodeaux at the line. They will all finish inside the top 15, and I believe those drivers all will advance. The question is, who else? Well, we are going to step aside real quick. We are going to calculate up the points, and we are going to tell you right here and now who are the drivers that are moving on and who are the drivers that are eliminated from the playoffs. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And we will give you your 12 that are moving on to round 2 of the Duracell Cup Series Season 4 playoffs. Results are in. Standings are official. Let's first take a look and see where your playoff contenders finished out today's race here at Indianapolis before we announce the 12 drivers that are moving on, the 4 drivers that have been eliminated from the playoffs here at the end of round 1. So your highest playoff contender was J Deaver. He finished in 4th. Jordan Lopez was 7th. Adam Garcia in 10th. Chris Dollerton 11th. T Wright in 12th. 13th, J Millz. Ryan Butcher in 14th. Those drivers all finished on the lead lap. K Batson was 16th. Dylan Young, who we already knew was locked in, he's going to finish 17th. Zach Rogers in 22nd. Was that enough? Carson Gum in 25th. Mitchell Collins in 26th. Charles Belding in 28th. Nathan Ormond was 32nd. And he was the last of the playoff contenders to finish the race. 2 playoff drivers did not reach the conclusion, Ryan Brommer and Jesse Turner. Now, we knew that Ryan Brommer, who came into this race 16th of the 16 playoff drivers in this elimination race with the DNF, he was not going to be moving on. So the question was, who was going to advance who was going to fall below that cut line. Zach Rogers was the cut line driver heading in. He is the cut line driver going out. Zach Rogers did not gain or lose a position. He is going to be moving on to the next round of the playoffs. Charles Belding dropped 4 spots in the standings. The pole sitter finishing all the way down in 28th. He was only 1 point. Correction, only 5 points ahead of that 12th in the standings cut line. He's moving on. Carson Gum dropped a couple spots. He was only 6 points ahead of the cut line. He's moving on. Drivers that were just above the cut line, like Ryan Butcher, he gained 3 spots. Had a 4-point cushion. Or correction, nope, make that 9-point cushion between himself and Zach Rogers. So he's moving on. And then drivers that were below Zach Rogers coming into this race, Chris Dollerton and J Millz, gaining 6 and 4 spots apiece. They are moving on to the next round of the playoffs. So, we knew that R Brommer was out. Mitchell Collins, there was a big question mark about him. He was down there 15th of the 16 playoff drivers, finished 26th. That's not going to help him. He is going to be below the cut line by a total of 9 points. He will not be moving on to the next round of the playoffs. So, one of the dominant young motorsports Fords will be eliminated, along with the Bulldog Motorsports Dodge of R Brommer. With Millz moving in and Dollerton moving in and Zach Rogers staying stationary, that means 2 drivers that were inside the top 12 in points, they fell out after today's race. The one that had the big question mark over it, Jesse Turner, dropped 8 spots in the playoff points, a total of 8 points behind the cut line. Jesse Turner, the 2-time winner, will not be advancing to the next round, and the only representative for Joanna Atwood Motorsports, 2-time winner Nathan Ormond, finished this race all the way down in the 32nd position, nearly the last car 1 lap down. He is going to finish 5 points behind 12th in the standings, so that 2-time winner will also not be advancing into the next round of the chase for the championship. 4 drivers totaling 7 wins this season eliminated in just the first round. That's just an idea of how unforgiving the playoff system is. A tough break there for R Brommer, who will not be making it to the final 4 for the championship for the 3rd straight season. So the 12 drivers that are officially moving on are going to be Dylan Young, who had already locked himself in through a win, Adam Garcia, the defending champion Jordan Lopez, Daytona 500 winner, T Wright, Cole Deaver, Keith Batson, former champion Chris Dollerton, Ryan Butcher, Carson Gum, J Millz, Charles Belding, and Zach Rogers. Those will be the drivers that will be beginning the next chapter of the chase for the championship next week at Hillside Raceway. It's been a crazy one here at Indianapolis. We knew it was going to be some great racing all the way through, and Jacob Thibodeaux becomes a back-to-back winner and becomes, believe now, another multi-time winner here on the season. I don't know how many multi-time winners we're up to now. I've lost count. 10, 11, something like that. My goodness. It's been a multi-win season, I guess. You don't really have this many drivers go to victory lane that many times. And again, as mentioned too, back-to-back seasons where a driver that wins at the Charlotte Roval wins the following week at Indianapolis. Norman did it last season, and Thibodeaux does it this season, his 4th career win. Want to give a couple of shout-out for finishes here as well in this race, though. Michael Norman trying to go for back-to-back victories here at Indianapolis, finishing 2nd, and Cody Llamas there in 3rd. Great effort by the Michael Norman Motorsports cars here today. But how about the former champion Ryan Acosta? Great run there in 5th. The rookie Dylan Schwallenberg there in 6th. And William Brock, good run there. Well-needed run for the 88, who's had a lot of hard luck. He gets an 8th place run here today as well. Most of these drivers finished on the lead lap. They were drivers that came down pit road when I think it was the 2nd caution came out. Everybody else decided to come down and pit under the green flag. Then a caution came out, and they found themselves all battling each other, but all 1 lap down, so it really whittled our field down. But thank goodness we managed to get a race here in this first round of the playoffs to finish under the green flag, and no doubt about it, Indianapolis, as always, playing a huge part into who may be the eventual champion here this season in the Duracell Cup Series. But next week, we're going to the Hillside Raceway. That track's a lot of fun. It's almost like a super speedway short track, and it should be a good precursor to start out the round of 12. Thank you all for tuning in to today's race here from Indianapolis. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We have shown you your full finish results These are what your point standings look like now. With the 12 drivers moving on, you'll see the reformatted points later on next week when we head to Hillside Raceway. But we'll see you guys then, as you've been watching another production of the SRA, offline racing at its best.